Alright, welcome to part 2 of the set review, Lord of the Rings set review. Let's dive in. Alright, Arwen's Gift. 3 in the blue sorcery. The spell costs 1 less to cast if you control 2 or more legendary creatures. Scry 2, then draw 2 cards. So, yeah. Sorcery speed is a little awkward. I mean, Scry 2 is kind of cool because it lets you like look at like selection before your card draw is usually pretty good. And I mean, if you have like two or like I guess again we were talking about like Ring Bearer and Legendary, so theoretically it could be a big deal like getting this cast this for like 3 or whatever. So yeah, it does seem like kind of a slower format. It does trigger the dude to want to draw two a turn, yeah, because there's some draw two matter stuff. Like there, yeah, I think we saw a card that technically triggered off spells, but then now that I think about it, that might have been a commander only card. So I mean, divination hasn't been really good in a while, but like the fact that like there is scry matter stuff, then I mean I think I'm willing to like rate this as like a 2.5. Just because like it could have like a ton of upside, like if you are getting like because it does trigger your scry matter stuff too, because there's scry matter. I don't know. It does seem like so far the format is like slow enough that you can get away with like playing like a think. Alright, the bath song, not to be confused with Gamer Girl Bathwater. So Saga 3 in a blue, draw 2 cards and then discard a card. So step 1 and 2. Most Magic players won't play this. Touche. And then shuffle any number of target cards from your graveyard into your library. Add 2. So this is like get the catalog twice, and then you can put cards back from your graveyard back in the library and add 2 blue. So it's like a really it's like Sift or whatever, I guess. I don't know. This seems worse than like that other sorcery we just looked at, but I don't know. Again, like if there's like graveyard synergies, then it's gonna matter. Yeah, it's like Sift is like a draw two, draw three, discard one. This is a draw four, discard two. It's a little different compared to Civ. It also happens over 2 different turns. Like if the format's really slow, if you have like reanimation, this could be kind of a big deal, right? And I mean, like maybe there are cards in your graveyard you actually want to put back in your library, so it can like I could definitely see like people going off with like multiple copies of this. Like I remember I used to think Witness the Future was pretty bad, right? And then like I've seen so many people go deep with like Witness the Future that like it made me think that it's better than I think it is, but I mean I'm still thinking feels a lot like a 1.5, but I mean it could be like conditionally a 2 if you're like really super like if you have like the grindy Witness the Future type deck and you have like multiple copies of this, maybe. I just surprised like I guess this does work for like your historic triggers too. So it could be better because like it works with your historic triggers. But I haven't seen like a ton of like historic. I don't know. Like these type of cards have definitely seemed like really slow and bad to me in the past, but I think maybe because of like the potential like recursion infinite with it, it could be a big deal. Oh, Bewitching Leech Crab, 1 of the blue, and an aura, enchant creature. When Bewitching Leech Crab enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has if this creature would untap during your untap step, remove a 1/1/1 counter from it instead. If you do, untap it. So it's like claustrophobia, except if they have 1/1 counters on it, it doesn't just like they do get to keep untapping it. So yeah. Yeah, like it's like a conditional 2 mana claustrophobia. It's obviously not good if it has like a lot of +1/+1 counters on it, but like right. But I don't know how many cards have like a lot of +1/+1 counter on it. So like I mean maybe there's like green cards that add a lot of +1/+1 counter, but I didn't see like a ton in like white. Yeah, oh I see, that's why. So it's like the removal spell that doesn't work on army. Like it shrinks them a little bit, but yeah, okay, so it just basically it would be like broken because like that's why it's worded this way, is like sort of like with Kazmina's transmutation from like War the Spark. Oh, it made it bad against armies. Yeah, yeah. I thought the army can't attack or block though, right? Oh, it becomes a spirit. Oh, I see. That's why it makes it a spirit, so that like they can amass like a different army. Okay, I see. I understand now. Like the pacifism. That's why it changes the creature into a spirit and it loses all the other creature types. So that is no longer an orc army. You can just make a. So this is gonna be like better than the pacifism, I guess, in a ways, but like because it's cheaper, but it's also again has the same weakness against army. So I have to say that it's at least like a 2.5 if I said that, because I rated the pacifism at a 2.5, even though like maybe 5, but I don't know. If there's a lot of sack outlets, then I could see this being lower, because usually pacifism, like I also need to rate the pacifism lower if there's a ton of sack outlets, because like that's usually the thing that makes pacifism and claustrophobia bad, is if they have a bunch of sack outlets or whatever, right? Because it's like, oh, I put pacifism and you're gone. Sack it, bad. Bill Fernie, Bree Swindler, one of the blue, legendary creature, human rogue. Whenever Bill Fernie Bree block, choose one. Create a treasure token. Target the opponent or target the opponent gain control of target horse you control. If you do, remove Bill Fernie from combat and then create 3. Uh, it's legendary. It's a human. I mean, it has to become blocked. So it's really weird. Yeah. It's like, I guess, is there anything you can do, like giving them a horse that like hurts them or something, or is this gonna functionally play out a lot like a 2/1 that dies into a treasure? That's what it feels like. This is gonna basically be like a 2/1 that dies into a treasure, or I guess you have a horse that you don't care about. It doesn't die. It just gives you 3 treasures, and you give them your. I don't. Yeah, legendary matter stuff. So I feel like this is gonna play out a lot like Dire Fleet Hoarder, because like as soon as it becomes blocked, it's gonna die. Right? One, so it can't even like chump block and be sure. So I don't know. I would rate it like a Dire Fleet Hoarder at this point, and I don't think I would rate that card very high. But I don't know. I'm gonna say there's like a 1.5 at this point. It's just gonna feels a lot like hiker, but maybe there's like some combo with it I haven't like seen. Maybe there's a combo with it, but I'm gonna say like a 1. Birthday Escape. One sorcery draw card. So this is basically set mechanic draw card. Yeah, I mean I guess if the ring matters a lot to you, then sure. If the ring matters some matters you a lot, then go ahead. But I mean, would it be like cycle a card and gonna be like playable, I guess, as like cycle a card and do set mechanic. But it's not gonna be like super broken. You like it? Yeah, I mean it's probably better than like some of the other like ring tempty stuff, which is like not, which just has been attached to like kind of like a lower value card. Yeah, there's probably some card that can do it. Yeah, I'd probably say it's like a 2. I like it more than that 2/1 that dies into like a ring. Yeah. Alright, Born Upon a Wind, 1 of the blue. You may cast spells as though they have flash. So this is basically just like a constructed card, so it's like a 1. Like a 0.5 maybe. I don't know. There's probably something you can do with it in limited, but I'd probably just say like don't play this. I don't think you should play this in limited. So I'm just gonna say it's like a 0.5. It's a constructed plant. Captain of Umbar, right? The 2 in a blue, creature human pirate. Draw a card, discard a card for 1 tap. I mean, looter that. So if it wasn't for like the draw 2 matters mechanic, I would say this is pretty terrible. But like I think the draw 2 matters mechanic makes this better because like it triggers that. So I think in the deck that like says draw your second card per turn is gonna be pretty decent there. But I mean, otherwise it's gonna play out a lot like a 3/3. It has human synergy, but I don't know. I probably still say this is gonna be maybe like a low 2 or probably like a 1. Because I don't know, like looters that make you pay mana for them are kind of awkward, in my opinion. It depends on how many mana sinks there are in this format. If there's like no mana sinks in the format, then it could be better. Like, oh, you do Council's Deliberation, 1 of the blue, draw card. Whenever you scry, if you control an island, you may exile Council's Deliberation. Or if you do, draw a card. So it's a scry matters payoff. And so it's gonna be like a 2 mana draw 2 if you have Scry Matters payoffs stuff. Like, I don't think that's insane or whatever, to be honest. I'm still probably gonna rate it as like a 2. I guess it could be a 2.5 if you are actually paying 2 mana. Like, if you actually are reliably getting the second card from it, but I don't know. This also feels like a card people are just gonna overplay because they go like, oh, 2 mana cycling is great. Alright, Deceive the Messenger, blue, instant. Target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn. Amass Orcs 1. Um. Yeah, I mean. I don't know how big of a deal Amass Orcs 1. Like, I think with like those army cards from War of the Spark, they got better if you were like in a sack deck, right? Because like it was like sort of a reliable way of getting like sack fodder. Because like the sack decks usually wanted to like amass and then immediately sack the thing so that they weren't like losing a ton of value from like, you know, amassing like something up to like a 4 or 5, sacking it. So I don't know, this definitely feels like filler combat trick, but you know, it depends on how valuable amass orc 1 is. There are some like orc and goblin synergies that could potentially make it better, but like just on the face value, I'd probably be tempted to rate this as like a 1.5. Dreadful as a Storm, 2 in the blue. Instant. Target creature has base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. 2. Oh man, 3 mana. Do that. Like, I think, again, they've had like this card before, like the Serpentine Ambush or whatever. It didn't have set mechanic on it. But like if Ring Temptu is really good, then it's gonna be better. But like again, just face value, these types of cards just don't play out super well. It is good with armies because it basically gives your army +5/+5, right? So that's actually kind of like reasonable. Like if you have an army, maybe it could be like a 2 playing like an army deck, like +5/+5 on your army. But it just depends on how important like the ring Temptu mechanic becomes. Yeah, it's good with armies, right? I guess like good with 1/1 tokens also. Better with armies. Alright, Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, 2 in a blue, legendary creature, Elf Noble. Whenever Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, or another creature enters the battlefield, try 1. If this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn. So this is like your Scry 1 and your Scry enabler, Scry Manners enabler, and also your Ring Temptu enabler. And I mean it's a 3/2 for 3. It's not great, it's legendary. So this once like I mean it's an ETB, so it's gonna give you the Scry one immediately. It's not insane on like a 3/2 for 3. But I mean if you go like Elrond into a creature, into another creature, and then you get like the Ring Temptu, I can see like I think this card could actually be like really good. Have like token makers. Just like ways of like repeatedly making like 2 tokens. So I could actually honestly like I would maybe like rate this as like a 3 possibly in the deck where it's like good. Yeah, just getting the scry once off all your creatures, and if you're getting like the 2 tokens and making like getting the ring Temptu, that's gonna be better. I know I rated like those other ring cards kind of low, but I feel like that card has like possibility. Gondalf, Friend of the Shire, 3 in the blue, legendary creature, avatar, wizard, flash. So there feels like there's a lot of like flash creatures in this set. The flash, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Whenever the ring Temptu, if you chose a creature other than Gandalf, Friend of the Shire is a ring card. So this is your ring Temptu payoff. I mean, as a flash 2/4, there's a lot of 2/4s in this set. There's also a bunch of 3/2s in this set, so it can eat a 3/2. Um, I don't know how like super relevant casting sorcery spells as though they had flash is, but it could be, good. So I don't know. I could conditionally say there's like a 2.5, just because like it's got like synergies and it's like good with like counter spells and like combat tricks and stuff because you can like like it's good there. There's probably like a deck that wants to play like instant. So you have a question about Ring Temptu? All right, what is it? What would you like to know about Ring? I was gonna look at this stuff. Hey, thank you for the raid, Darkest Mate. Oh my god, check my Fox IQ. Fox check. Doing a set review. Thank you very much. Hope your stream went well. Shout out Darkest Mage. Watch quality draft content. Going over blue cards. My favorite color. Well, I mean, blue's pretty decent. Yep. So we're just waiting to answer a question about Ring Temptu. Yeah, you can. So with Ring Bearer, you can choose the same creature, or you can choose a different one. Still goes to like the next level of happens. It goes to the next level. So it also goes to the next level even if you don't have any creature. It's just that there are certain cards that trigger if you choose like a creature as your ring bearer, or if you choose like a specific creature, like it'll say like do this if you choose, you know, X as your ring bearer, or if you choose, or do this if you choose something other than X as your ring bearer does something or whatever. So it's like there's some there's some like creatures that are like kind of like selfless and they would prefer that you choose somebody else as your ring bearer, and I think there's some creatures that care if they become ring bearer if they do something else, so it's kind of cool. Glorious Gale, one of the blue, instant, counter target creature spell. If it was a legendary spell, ring tempts you. Like, as we were talking about, like, how good, I mean, it's Essence Scatter, so that's already, like, good, right? Like, Essence Scatter is good, and then it just has, like, it's just Essence Scatter with upside, which makes me think it's gonna be even better. Like, there's also a lot of, like, creatures that have, like, ETBs, so I think Essence Scatter gets better in, like, a format that has, like, a lot of ETBs, so maybe... I don't know, I like to rate it as, like, a 2.5. That in that concept, because I think that's gonna be pretty good. And I also think there's a lot of flash creatures, so I think um like counter spells get a lot better when you have like flash creatures. You know? So I mean this is basically just Essence Scatter with upside. Like I don't know if I want to say it's like a 3. Maybe it's like a little bit crazy. Say like 3 counter spell, but definitely say it's at least like just again, Essence Scatter is already a card I would want to play in like limited, and then there's upside. Basically gives you a little bit of advantage. Gives you advantage. Fairy creature. Goldberry, River Daughter, one of the blue, legendary creature, Nymph. Tap, move a counter of each kind not on Goldberry, River Daughter from another target permanent you control onto Goldberry. And blue, tap, move one or more counters from onto another target permanent you control if you do card. So it's a legendary, it's I mean, it's like a 1-3 for 2. That's not good, really. It's there's probably some synergies. Like you can move counters off of your sagas onto her. It does feel like it's more like a constructed plant, but I mean, there might be like some value. Like you can like someone tell Dirt Nymph. Yeah, so like I think like one potential use for this card is like say you have like creatures that have +1/+1 counters on them, and then your opponent like kills them. You can like tap the Goldberry to like move move one of the counters onto Goldberry. You can't move all of them, but you can move one of the counters on the Goldberry. So it's like, oh, you get to like pseudo Ozolith or whatever, move a count. Well, it's not really you're like saving a counter and putting it on the Goldberry, and then I guess you can also do like sagas to like move saga counters onto Goldberry. Like, say you want to keep using your saga on step 1 or step 2, I guess, or like you know what I mean. Like, say you have a saga that's on step 2 or whatever, you can like tap the Goldberry, move a saga counter onto her, and then you know just keep doing that. Like if you just want to keep using the saga on step 2, or you know, and then you can also like move the saga counters onto like you know a permanent that doesn't care about it. I don't know, like, and then draw a card. But it definitely feels more like a constructed plant. To be honest, like I could definitely see you could do something really cool with it, but I don't know. I'm just not really like liking it at like face value, to be honest. So I probably just rate it as like a 1.5 at this point. But I mean, there's probably some combo potential with it and like construct it. Like Aspiring Spike is going to break this card completely in half. But we're talking about limited. No. Greyhaven Navigator, Tuna Blue, Creature Elf Pilot, Flash, Never Greyhaven Navigator is the Battlefield Scry 1. So this is basically like Elrond, except it has Flash. There we go. But no, I'm just kidding. Elrond has like a lot more text on it, but it's a Flash creature. There seems to be a lot of Flash creatures in the format. Like, I mean, there's some. I think there's some play a second spell card matter stuff too, and there's also again the scry matter stuff. So like, I don't know. I don't think usually like a Flash 3/2 is that insane. Like nobody ever went crazy for like Hired Blade, but or I guess like I mean that's what I was thinking is Hired Blade, but there was also like another card from like Guild of Ravnica, Whisper Agent. Whisper Agent, but Whisper Agent was also kind of hard to cast. Whisper Agent was like a Flash, Surveil one. Surveil one's a little bit better than Scry one because it puts the card in the graveyard for reanimation stuff or delirium. It's going to be fine. It makes me think it's going to play out like a 2. It's not going to be like, but it'll still play. It's not super super insane. All right, Iflane Knots. That's a lot of words. I think like Arstal was talking about this card on his stream. So 1 in the blue, instant, tap target creature, scry 1, draw card. So it's like a combo of Opt and Pressure Point. And I mean, there's some draw 2 matters stuff, there's some scry matters stuff. I guess you can just also play it as like a Pressure Point if you want that, or like make your opponent not able to like attack you for a turn. It's gonna do a lot of little things that maybe you're happy about. Like this card could potentially be like really really busted in the format, I guess, depending on how good buy one or draw 2 cards archetypes play out. But I mean, it functionally doesn't really do a lot, right? I mean, it's not insane, or it just does like a lot of little things. Like makes me think it could play out like a 2.5. Hey there, How's it going? Oh, we were talking about like your stream, by the way. Like you're talking about how you were doing a set review. It was well received. Yes, speaking about well received, you check out Arstal stream. Growing pretty significantly in the last month or so. Which is great. Yeah, you should check out Arsal stream. He streams every month, like every weekday from like 2 to 5 p.m. or sometimes later. Today's conversation was amazing. Yeah, no, it was really great. Yeah, so I was like thinking, oh, I should do a set review. I haven't done a set review. Um, I know also Captain Texas asked me about doing a set review. I think during March, I think it was during Pyrexia or something. Like, oh, I don't really like doing set reviews. I don't know. I'm willing to try stuff. Alright, Horses of the Bruinen. 3 and double blue, sorcery, return up to 2 target creatures to the owner's hand, scry 1 the ring. Okay, so this is not great. Like, if you took it at face value, like 3 mana bounce 2 creatures is kind of awkward. Like, I'm sorry, 5 mana bounce 2 creatures is a lot. But it does trigger the scry 1 matter stuff and the ring tempts you stuff. So theoretically, this could actually be pretty great. The Mirror Control Bathhouse, yeah, I was saying like that Bathhouse card is probably going to be really insane in like a Sam Black, like Isaiah style Witness the Future type of deck where you just, mill yourself out and then your win condition is like playing 2 bathwater cards or whatever, and like just shuffling your library back in, whatever. That could be kind of nuts. So I was like willing to like say that's like a 2, even though anything on the face, like I think most people are gonna play like that bathwater card, like 1.5 or something. There's like Sam Black or Isaiah Balls or Death Sea. Anyway, so yeah, I think this card has like a lot of potential just because it has like multiple synergies. So I think like these type of spells tend to underperform. Like I think like Sea God's Revenge was like kind of overrated like in that format. To be honest, but that targeted 3 things, scry 1. But like this is 5 mana to target 2 things, scry 1, and that mechanic. I could see this being like a. I could see this being. Been pretty harsh on like the. I think only one thing has gone like a 4. I haven't seen anything that's like breached the multiverse or Sunfall level yet. Maybe that's good, honestly. That we're not seeing like a Sunfall level card because that would be kind of boring. Alright, Eora for the healing house. 2 in a blue, legendary creature, human cleric. Untap another target permanent, untap legendary creatures. Oh, there is like a Sunfall card. Okay. Yeah. Um. I don't know how good this is. I mean, it's a legendary. There's some legend. Yeah, it's a mana ramper. It's like a horned turtle that ramps. I mean, like a 1/4 is pretty good at blocking. It's also probably pretty nuts in like the legendary matters deck, right? Especially if you have like legendaries with good like tap abilities of their own. It could be pretty broken. I don't know. Like I'm willing to like rate this as like a 2 based on that. Um. Oh, there's a non-legendary sweeper or something. Yeah, it's a legend that can like ramp and stuff. I don't know. It's cost 3 mana though. It's a lot. Like I just remember like the conjurer from well I guess the conjurer from uh the Dungeons and Dragons set, Clever Conjurer, that card got hurt by the fact that blue that set. And it was also sorcery speed. The fact that this is instant has like some possibilities for like ambushing people, like if they're not paying attention. Because you can just like untap. Like I feel like this card's gonna play out really well like the first week or so because people just won't read it and they'll be like, okay, I can attack with my creature, and then like, haha, I untap like my 4/4 or whatever. I untap both of my legendaries and block. But I don't know. I've been pretty rough on a lot of the cards. I definitely expect somebody to come back and say, wow, why did you think this card was bad? But Isolation of Orthonk. 3 in the blue, instant target creature into its owner's library second for the top. So you got Temporal Cleansing. It lost Convoke, but it gained it lost Convoke, but it gained like instant speed, which it's basically just improved Riptide, which makes me a little bit happier about it. Because, like, I think Riptide was always a card I wanted to play, and the fact that it doesn't give your opponent a choice. I mean, it's a little expensive because it is 4. No Convoke. You think it feels bad compared to Cleansing? I think the fact that it's an instant is kind of a big deal, but like I maybe I just overrate Riptide. But like I just remember when you had to pay like 6 mana for like this type of effect, and I mean that was pretty terrible. I also think Riptide. I like Riptide. Good card in the set to win, right? There was literally like a 6 mana version of this. I mean, I guess that card was playable. Maybe this is like a 2. that context. But I think the fact that it's instant has like a lot of potential. There's like a lot of the potential to play just as an instant. And I do think that putting it second from the top is like a big deal compared to like when it just goes on top because it actually delays like an addition. But I'm willing to rate it as like a 2. It seems like expensive. Aphelion Kingfisher, 2 in a blue, creature bird, flying. When Aphelion Kingfisher dies, draw a card. So oh yeah, it is really beautiful art, I agree. Um I mean you don't get Cloudkin Seer anymore. Like dies is a lot worse than enters the battlefield because it doesn't synergize with any like ETB order. But I guess Cloud Concealer was probably like a 3 in its set, right? Or maybe like a 3.5 in its set. Like if anyone remembers Cloud Concealer. Well, Cloud Concealer also had like Elemental synergy, made it like really good. So I don't know. I'm willing. Like I feel like a lot of these cards usually play out like a 2 or whatever because it has to die. Right, because they've had like these type of cards before that have to die to do something. Like Spore Crawler has to die, so it makes it it makes it a lot worse. Like I think die is significant, but I'm willing to like say this is like a 2 because you know I think like there's some like maybe there could be like a sack deck that makes it like better possibly, but I could be wrong. That this is actually more like a crawler type card and it's not that great. I know. I think like a 3-mana 2/1 plays out better than considering like everything else. Wait, 3-mana 2/1. Right, Knights of Dol Amroth. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, so this is basically the wizard from Brothers War, right? Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1 on the counter on Knights of Dol Amroth. I don't remember that card being very good. Like the wizard from Brothers War makes me think this is gonna be like a 1.5. But I was also kind of low on that 5-mana, like very similar to this in white. So maybe I could be wrong, but I'm willing to say this. Like, just said it could be decent color. Yeah, I don't know. I just remember that card from Brothers War was like not good. It was very slow. But I could be wrong. If I remember what the name, like I can tell it more. Latinam Adept. Yeah, Latinam Adept. Yeah, cause like I thought blue black seemed pretty cool in that set, but then like 17 lands told me that it was like the worst color pair, and that's like also hate it on such. Yeah, it seems bad. But overall, a lot of the creatures in this set are pretty weak, so it could be good in that context, right? All the creatures are right. Lorien Reveal 3 and double blue. Sorcery, draw 3 cards. I don't know really what's going on here. Why is like what's happening in this art? It's like the draw 3 card island cycling 1. Since this is the land cycler of the set, like you know, I think this looks a lot better than the white land cycler. Cause it's like you can again like land cycle or Island Cycling 1 is like a lot different than Island Cycling 2 because like this actually lets you keep one. Land cyclers look great. Yeah, I was a little low on like the white one, but maybe the white one's better than I thought it was because it does kind of play well into like the go light archetype. Never be screwed again. So you're high on the land cyclers. Yeah, I think I like this land cycler a lot better than the white one. Because like the white one was like a 6-mana 3/3 flyer, like a team bump. Eating the white one is the worst one. You haven't seen. Oh, I thought you finished your set review already. Did you not do it yet? I don't know. I just started the set review, so I don't know. I'm gonna say it is like a 2.5, just because I think the island cycling could be a big deal. You done? Oh, I see. You did. Yeah, yeah. I did white earlier, and we're gonna finish blue. I don't want to be. I will do like uh black and red tomorrow, and then we'll finish like green and artifact lane Sunday. Like, Lost Isle Calling. So one of the blue. So this is basically like, so whenever you scry enchantment, whenever you scry, put a verse counter on Lost Isle Calling. 4 and blue, exile Lost Isle Calling. Draw a card for each verse counter on Lost Isle Calling. If it had 7 or more verse counters on it, take an extra turn after this activate. Sorcery. This is like basically if you're not in the Scry Matters deck, don't play this card at all because it literally does nothing. Literally does nothing if you aren't in the Scry deck, and even if you are in the Scry deck, it's really slow. I guess if there's like a good repeatable Scry card, this could be kind of cool, but feels like a lot worse than like Ominous Seas, which was also like a sort of like a pseudo mechanic card, like because Ominous Seas Ominous Seas triggers just off natural draws, but realistically you wanted to combo Ominous Seas with like cycling so that you got more, you got it faster. Yeah, I think this is basically like a constructed plant. So I think I'm just gonna say there's like a 0.5 because it just feels like a lot of work. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Alright, have a good night, Gargoyle. Thanks, Sunby. It just feels like a constructed plant. It's just not gonna be. I was gonna say it's like a 5 at this point. I will post a link to this on the Discord if you want to see it, or I guess I'll post it in chat when it's done. But people want to see like my rating sheet stuff, and then they can go like, "Wow, you rated that card." Hi. Um. Alright, Mineldor Swift Savior, 3 in the blue, legendary creature bird soul. Flying. Whenever Mineldor Swift Savior deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target creature you own, and then return it to the battlefield. I do like the fact that it says like creature you will complete with. Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely some cards in the set that are like plants for constructed, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Like the equipment card, the Origin knew that was totally like a constructed plant, but So this is like your ETB reuse card. So I think that's why like the 3-mana bird is a die trigger, because it would be kind of insane if it was like a ETB trigger and you had this in play. You being really high on a card everyone's down on, yeah, and then being like, was Metal Mario right or something? I mean, he probably was right about some. Sure. So yeah, it's like Blink creature. It's also like a phantom monster. Oh, he was high on the pure. Oh, wow, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people like underrated that card, to be honest, because it just felt like a 6-mana, like a 6/6 for 6 just didn't seem like insane, but like it's just like the format played out really well. Yeah, it's Phantom Monster. This is like a lower power set. I didn't see if there's like a red spell that is 2 mana deal 3. If there is, then obviously X3s get a lot worse. But contextually, this is Phantom Monster, and I mean, it blinks things when it deals combat damage to a player. So if you have like a lot of good ETB, big deal. It also like makes the pacifism and the claustrophobia worse. Because like you can just exile the creature that it's on, right? Like if you have like a creature that has like the pacifism play. It doesn't have the pacifism on it anymore. So I guess it's a downside to playing pacifism. Yeah. I mean, I think in the right deck, this could be like a 3. Maybe it's like on average because it is like Phantom Monster. It's probably closer to 2.5. But I don't know. I mean, I think I'm willing to like say it's like a like this is like me not having looked at any of the red cards, so like I could be wrong. Like maybe back and say like maybe it's a 2.5. Like no. I mean, like it is basically going to be like Hill Giant. You're not going to want to block with it, but I mean, if you're blocking with like your 3/3 flyer, you're behind, right? Oh, great. Nimrodel Watcher, 1 in the blue, creature Elf Scout. Whenever you scry, Nimrodel Watcher gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked. Turn ability triggers only 1. So this is basically the card you play in the scry deck. Play it anywhere else. Like, depending again how easily you can like scry and stuff, it could be a thing. Like it can never deal more than like it can never trigger more than once because it only triggers once each turn. So it's not going to be like a 5/1 by itself, right? You're not going to scry 3 times. It's 5/1. I mean, it's going to feel a lot like basically like filler, and then it's like good in the deck where it's like let's say this like a 1.5 at the point. I could be like surprised by this. Maybe it's gonna be really great. Like there's a lot of format is gonna be like super. Pelargir's Survivor, 1 in the blue. For human peasant. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast an sorcery spell. 5 in the blue. Target player mills 3 cards. So it's a 2 mana 1/3, which again is not a stat line I'm like happy about, but it does like ramp your instant 3. And it is like a late game win condition because you start milling them. But again, that just feels like the definition of like filler usually. Like this type of card, it's like they've had like 2 mana 1/3s before that you're just like, oh, like yeah, you think it's like a 1 or something. Yeah, it's like a really conditional ramp card. It's like it only pays for like instant and like it's 6 mana to like mill them out. Like again, there's probably gonna be like some Sam Black or Isaiah deck that really wants this deck. Really wants this card filler, yeah. Yeah, I'm willing to say it's like a 1. There's that point. Like it's like you can play it, but like again, it's just like the stat line of 1/3 for 2 or like 3/2 for 3 is like things I'm trying to like avoid. Like because you pay for ability. I mean, it depends on how slow the format is. Like, I bet you there's gonna be somebody who breaks this because it's like, oh, like mill 3 is gonna like the deck damage is gonna matter a lot, right? Like they've had that similar type of card before, like 2 mana 1/3s that like drain 2 life if you pay 6 mana or whatever, but you're never really excited about it. Okay, this is a card again. Press the enemy 2 and double blue instant. Return target spell or non-land permanent opponent controls its own hand. It casts an instant or sorcery spell with equal or lesser mana value from mana cost. That it still feels a lot like 4 mana bounce spell is like not good. I mean, I guess it can return a spell. Isn't relevant. I mean, that's sometimes relevant. Like your opponent taps out for like a 5-drop, and then you're like pseudo time walking them. You don't get to draw a card. Then you get like a little bit of tempo advantage. Like, um. So I get like it's kinda not. If you have like if there's a spells matter deck, be kind of a big deal, like an instant or sorcery spells matter deck, because you could be like, okay, I bounce your 5-drop and play my 5-drop spell, or my 5-drop instant. Like, I bounce your 5-drop creature or something. I play my 5-drop instant sorcery. But this definitely feels a lot. You think it's actually great because like it feels like it could get you a lot of tempo. Yeah. It feels a little bit like Electro Dominance, I guess. I mean, Electro Dominance was like different because it was an X spell that dealt damage. This one is like kind of conditional based on like what your opponent is doing, right? Like I guess if they have like a 5-drop in play, you can like bounce. This card could actually be really good in like a tempo deck, right? Because you like assuming you have like a lot of instants or sorceries, yeah, counter a bounce plus you get the mana back, yeah. If you have a lot of instants or sorceries that are like expensive and your opponent, yeah, it's a big tempo card, I would say. So it has like a lot of potential to be like super good, right? It's probably too slow to play in modern, unfortunately, because it's like very. But I mean, we're talking about limited. This last card for 5 that draws. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, if you bounce like their 5-drop creature or or you return their 5-drop sorcery that they were planning on resolving, and then you draw 3 off of it. You know, like you're not getting card advantage, but you're getting like a big tempo advantage, right? Because you're basically getting taking away 5 of your opponent's mana, and then you're playing a 5-drop. I mean, yeah, you had to spend 4 mana for the press, but I mean, I could definitely see a situation where this card could be basically like game winning, but it's really hard to like evaluate. You know, like I'm not really willing to say it's like a 3. I could be willing to say it's like a 2 point just based on that card. I've like barely rated anything like a 3. Again, I'm glad I'm hoping to see somebody like read this and then they come back and they go like, why didn't you rate this like a 3 later? I digress. The resident idea guy. Hey there, Mad Mad Idaho. Uh Rangers of Ithilien, 2 and double blue, creature human ranger, vigilance and blue. That's a little weird. Are you up mana at that point? Looks like a good combo. The card with rewind. Yeah, you're talking about this thing, right? So I think people were like talking about playing this in modern as like a way to like play like crashing footfalls, but they already have like electro dominance and things like you know violent outburst or um chargeless agent do that. I mean, I guess it's an instant, but I mean, like, I don't know. There's probably like some. Alright, we're talking about limited. Rangers of Athelion, 2 and double blue, creature human ranger, vigilance. When Rangers of Athelion enter the battlefield, gain control of one target creature with lesser power for as long as you control what Ranger of Athelion, the ring temp. Okay, I mean, this is basically like your pseudo mind flayer that also has like set mechanic. Um, you can't really abuse it with like the blink creature because only as long as you control. I guess if you had like a sack outlet, maybe you could like blink. You could sack the creature you stole and then blink it and then replay it. But I mean, it does have set mechanic on it, which isn't bad. I mean, I think still even like a 4 mana gain control. One of those ring temps you. All right, glad you asked that. So ring tempts you is it's basically an emblem that both players can have or whatever, and then it says like each time the ring tempts you, two things happen. Whenever you choose it, first you choose a creature to control to become your ring bearer. If you have a ring bearer, you may choose that creature to remain your ring bearer, or you may choose another creature. Um, Second, the ring gains its next ability if it can. Once the ring has all four of its abilities, it can't gain additional abilities. Um, Ring gains the next ability even if you didn't control any creature as the ring tempted you. And then basically the ring has like four abilities that you gain in order, and they're like cumulative. So, like the first one is your ring bearer legendary and can't be blocked by creatures of great power. Second ability is whenever your ring bearer draws a card, then discard a card. Third ability is whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's control sacrifices at the end of combat. And then the third ability is whenever, so the fourth ability is whenever your ring bearer deals combat to a player, each opponent loses 3. So, it's basically just like a stacking thing, and then there's some cards that like reference like you do something when ring tempts you, or like creature becomes your ring bearer, do something. So this card definitely seems like it's gonna be bomb like, or like bomb adjacent. Honestly, like I don't know if there's like ways to make it do more than steal like a right, because you would check the power when it goes on the stack and when it resolves. So it's like it's not like you could target like a 6 power thing and then pump this up to like a 7 power guy or whatever. Like, that would work. So maybe if you had like some static effect that buffs all humans or whatever, buffs all your creatures, then you could steal 3/3. But I honestly think that like even like 4 mana steal like a 2 power guy, and then still have like a 3/3 around villain and set mechanic is like feasibly strong. So I would probably argue this is like a 4 or something based on just what I'm seeing. But I mean, I could be wrong again about it. Maybe it's gonna, but there are ways, I guess, like you could pump your creature in response to them playing this and targeting your guy, and then like the ability would like be countered. Right? Because they wouldn't like, it would have greater power, or you could shrink this guy with like that -0 in response to the ability. But kind of getting a little deep. Storm on the white, 4 on the blue, legendary creature, avatar, wizard, ward 2. There's also hexproof, yeah, of course. Give it hexproof in response to counter the ability. They still have a 3/3 that tempted them though, but it could be like really good. Alright, ward 2, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, amass orcs 2. So this is your second spell matters card. And also like ward 2, so it's like um I guess it depends on how easily you're going to be casting your second spell each turn. So you really want to have like a lot of like cheap spells, possibly like like cantrips and stuff. Like it goes really well with like those cheap card draw spells we saw earlier, like the blue one that just is like draw a card, do set mechanic, thing tempt you. If you have a lot of cheap spells and a lot of card draw, I can see this kind of over. But I mean, if you can just like play this and cast a spell immediately afterwards, you get a 2/2, or I guess you get +2/+2 on your current army. So I think that could be pretty deep in that regard. So I'm willing to say this is like a 3 based on that. So I think if you're playing this, if you play this into another spell, you're already like possibly ahead. It's not like insane. It also has like ward 2, so it's like it's a little sticky. So it's like it's not like it might not necessarily be able to like remove it immediately with like the ward 2. Alright, Ceremon's Trickery 1 and double blue, counter target spell, amass orcs 1. This I'm not really like sold on just because I think cancel is not like a great magic card. Even if it has like a set mechanic on it, like it's only amass orcs. Like I mean, it's like comparable, I guess, to the reminds me a little bit of like the 3 mana. I think it was like Toll. I think it was like Toll of the War or Toll of the Invasion. I know that's like a different card because card, but it's like similar to that. Um, I don't know. It definitely feels like maybe if the set's like really slow, there are a lot of flash features. So I could see like, cancel being good with like flash creatures because you're like, oh, I cancel because like it doesn't feel as bad because I left up my you know 3/2 flash or my 2/4 flash or whatever because like I don't like lose all that mana spell, but like, cancel is just generally not like a card I've been super excited to play. Maybe if there's like a sack deck where like because I think that's where like a mass one gets like better because if you're playing sack or whatever, then you actually just want to sack the thing like right away. But I mean, cancel again just feels a lot like F nowadays. But again, that's like a card I could definitely see like maybe it is. Roll of a Isildur, 2 in the blue. Step 1, gain control up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control Scroll of Isildur, the ring. And 2, tap up to 2 target creatures, put a stun counter on each of them, and then 3, draw a card for each tap creature target opponent controls. So this sort of reminds me of like Time of Ice. Kinda. Well, maybe not like Time of Ice, but like interesting. Like there's like a lot of different things. Right? So it's it could be like a draw to in, stunning 2 creatures. Nice. And then maybe like, yeah, you could steal an artifact land with it if you wanted. Um, so I guess, yeah, like modern, you could steal like Darksteel Citadel or the dual color indestructible cards or whatever. You couldn't steal Urza Saga because it's an enchantment, but yeah, I mean maybe there's like some. I don't know how good this is gonna be in like limited, but I mean it does feel like it's gonna be like feasible because it's gonna be like a frost breath. I mean it is like sorcery speed, but it also draws you 2 cards. Also draws you 2 cards, so like I think like there might be a deck that like this could be like a 3 possibly, but I think like it's gonna be like good even if you're like behind. Like it could be bad the fact that you have to wait till like step 2 to like tap things. That's like the one argument against it, but I could see it being like the yeah, it's kind of like a slow divination. I mean, they have to have creatures too, right? Because it only counts creatures opponent controls. Yeah, there's proliferate. Yeah, to make it faster. Alright, Soothing of Smeagol, 1 in the blue. Instant return target non-token creature to its owner's hand. The ring tempts you. So the reason it says non-token creatures is so that it doesn't destroy an army. because that's intentional. It's like, oh, it doesn't destroy armies. Um, I mean, I don't know how to evaluate ring tempsu. Are we trying to say it's like equal to drawing a card? If it is, then I could see this being close to like a 2.5. Right? The fact that it is 2 mana like bounce a thing is obviously bounce a creature specifically is like not amazing. But I don't know, like maybe I had rated a lot of the ring tempsu cards kind of lowly, possibly, but like it is important to note that this won't like bounce an army because it's on token. I don't know. I guess I could say it's like a 2.5, and then this is a card that everybody talked about in Modern is really good because it counters like a ton of things. Stern Scolding, blue, instant, counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2. Oh, yeah, Ring tempts you. It's like an emblem thing that happens every time. So every time the ring tempts you, you get an emblem, or you move up the emblem. Hey, thank you for the raid, Ilion. Oh my god. Yeah, this card's gonna be really good in Modern. Big shout out to Ilion if you're like interested in variety game content. You check out the stream. Give him a shout out. He's also really nice. I met him in person. Really, really nice to talk to. Great stream community. You're talking about your buddy about the math mechanic. They all bounce the mask could be. Well, I mean, the thing is, we saw like the 2 mana bounce spell doesn't work on token. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night. I appreciate the raid. Yeah, we're just checking out the new set. Yeah. Hey, thanks for follow. I'm mad you the host. Shit, my fox do. Let me explain what ring temps you does. Sorry, we're doing the raid, but yeah. So the 2 mana spell we just talked about, bounce doesn't, or it says non-token, but like the grip tide spell we talked about, that does work on armies. That's why I think like the grip tide spell has like a potential to be pretty decent. But so ring tempts you is every time ring tempts you, there's like the first time it tempts you, you get an emblem, and then like the ring tempts you has like 4 different abilities that go down in order as like the ring tempts you, and every time the ring tempts you, you choose a creature you control to become your ring bearer. And then if you have a ring bearer, you can have that creature stay as your ring bearer or choose another creature to be the ring bearer. And then it gains its next ability if it can. And when the ring has all 4 abilities, you can't gain any more abilities. And you can still gain ring abilities even if you don't have creatures. And the ring gains the following effects in order: is that 1, your ring bearer legendary can be blocked with creatures greater than 4. 2, whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw cards in this card. 3, whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices at the end of combat. And then 4, whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. And then there's certain cards that like trigger whenever like ring tempts you, or when you name a specific creature as like ring bearer. Like it'll go like, oh, you know, you like when this creature becomes ring bearer, do something, or when some other creature besides this becomes ring bearer. But yeah, we were talking about Stern Scolding. Yeah, the flavor of text is actually kind of really amazing here. Like it really fits Gandalf stuff. But yeah, there's also a card that everybody was super hype about it in Modern, because like yeah, because it counters a lot of the things in like Modern: Ragavan, Solitude, Grief, Yawgmoth. Like it basically counters everything in Yawgmoth except besides endurance. It counters uh Dragon Rage, whatever channeler. It counters Ledger Shredder. It counters Shardless Agent, but you don't really care about countering that because like it's the spell that cascades to that you care about. But yeah, it counters a lot of things. Other in this set, I mean, we saw like a lot of the creatures have kind of low stats. So I mean, I don't know. I didn't really do like Sirkovitz type analysis and like look at every creature that has like power 2 or less. I mean, we could like look at it honestly. Rifle. Just because like for completeness, tried to be complete here. All right, so we look at Lord of the Rings set. Hopefully, it doesn't include all those like commander cards because that's really does. That's power less than or equal to 2. I don't know if it lets you do both. But, like, let's just look at power less than 3. Oh god, it is including commander cards. But I guess if we weren't looking at, I mean that's a lot. Like I guess power. I don't know. Sorry, this is 68, but for commander cards, like make it hard to figure it out. And toughness, like 54. Again, commander cards. Yeah, there's some butts in the sub. I'm just saying, like, man, let's use commander cards. Screw things up, but I think in general, a lot of the cards seem like lower in power and toughness compared to like sets. But I don't know. This card's probably going to be like reasonable to play and like limited, but again, it's like an early game counter spell. Like take it as you will. Maybe it's gonna be like worse because like constructed like certain things obviously get like better. Like Ragavan significantly better constructed if you like 4 of it. Maybe this is gonna play out more like a 1.5 in that regard. I don't know. I'm willing to say it could be like a 2. It's not gonna be like super insane. Like the fact that you can potentially counter like 4 drops of them because there's like some 4-mana 3 I think and some 2/4s that this counters. Like it's gonna be like tempo positive countering that, right? Alright, Storm of Saruman, 4 and double blue enchantment. 4/3. Whenever you cast your second spell, each turn copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this is basically like a constructed plant, except maybe sometimes you get to like cast like you cast like a cheap spell and you cast your legendary creature, and then the copy isn't legendary, so you get to like make 2 copies of your guy, and you get to like snowball like 2 copies of your legendary guy because like one of them will be not legendary, so you get to keep both in play. But it does feel like a lot of work. I mean, the Ward 3 means it's like it's hard to get rid of it, but still, I don't know. This definitely feels more like a 1 type card, like limited. Like maybe there's gonna be somebody again that like breaks a Death Seed deck or something, breaks a grab deck, and then like, oh man, just leave it for your EDH. Surrounded by orcs, 3 in a blue, sorcery, amass orcs 3, then target player mills X cards where X is the amassed army's power. I don't know, like, this doesn't seem good. I mean, does anyone remember, like, the Amass 3 card from, like, there was, like, an Amass 3 card in, in, like, War of the Spark? Yeah, I think I would just, like, pass on this, personally, because it's just gonna be like Hill Giant and like a little bit of mill and good, honest. I would just like rate it one. But maybe there's like a really insane amass deck that makes it look really good, but feels like upside. Season of Isengard, 2 in a blue, sorcery. Put up to 1 target instant or sorcery from your graveyard on top of your library. Mass orcs too. Eh. Yeah, it doesn't seem useful to the Jace Smith deck. Jason Mill deck, yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely not constructed playable either, and the card also seems kind of bad. Yeah, the Mill deck, yeah. So it puts the card on top of your library, so it's not even like card advantage, and then so you're basically paying this as like a 3 mana 2/2 with like slight card draw improvement. Gonna play similarly the like Meldweb Curator, I think, which was also like a card that was pretty bad. So I'd probably pass on this card also, but maybe there's like some spells matters deck that wants to play it. I don't know. I'm just like convinced this card's bad. Personally. The rate is a 1. We're almost done with the set. Not done with the set, we're almost done with blue. Watcher in the Water, 3 in the blue, legendary creature Kraken. Watcher in the Water enters the battlefield tapped with 9 stun. If a permanent with stun counter would become untapped, remove 1 from it instead. Whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle token. Whenever a tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-lamp. So stun counters means you can't like cheese it by like untapping at once. Because you would need to untap it 9 times in order to remove all the stun counters. So like, if you play this Watcher in the Water with like no support for it, it's basically like a 9/9 that has like suspend 9 on 5 mana. Well, if you have like a lot of instant speed card draw or like looters, like it does trigger every time you draw a card during your opponent's turns. If you like multiple looters, I guess it's a bomb. You think? Yeah, I think it's like contextual. Depends on how many ways you have to draw cards during your opponent's turn. Because if you have 0 ways to draw a card during your opponent's turn, it's god awful. But I could definitely see this card like clogging up the board if you have like a bunch of looters and like instant speed card draw and whatnot. Like some of the card draw spells we saw were sorcery speed, so it wouldn't work with this. Um I mean yeah, you have a way to copy the tokens, yeah. It's just I don't know. I mean like I think at this point I'm just gonna say it's like a 1. Maybe there's like some deck that could be like make it really good. I mean, let me look. How many ways are there the instant draw spell in this set if you move the counters? Yeah, guys, you could combo with it that rare to like move the stun count, but it moves the stun counter only onto a creature you control, right? Remove the counters, but so like that rare, it only moves counters onto another creature you control. So I guess you could put stun counters onto your other creature. I guess like maybe one that has like vigilance. Hard to remove all counters, yeah. So it feels more like a constructed plant, right? You would need something that removes all counters. It also costs like 5 mana. It's like a constructed card that, you want to play it. It costs 5 mana, it doesn't have an ETB. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's like a 0.5 at this point. Like, there's probably gonna be somebody that, like, breaks it, but it seems, like, really terrible. Like, like, there are, like, a couple ways of, like, instant speed draw cards, which I think if there's, like, a lot of ways that instant speed draw cards or, like, loot or whatever, then it's actually much better, but still, it's, like, a really, really strong... You're gonna need to, like, ground it pretty hard, I think. I think, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are just gonna draft this and then like try to play it and then realize it's just gonna sit there like not doing anything. And they're gonna die because I spent 5 mana. Literally just play. And last card, Willow Wind 4 and a blue creature elemental flying. When Willow Wind enters the battlefield, scry. So this is basically Cloud Reader Sphinx. And honestly, I remember that card being pretty good in Dominaria. So, I don't know. I'm actually willing to like. I think this is a lot better than the 3 mana 2/1 that dies into a card. You know, I mean, it does cost 5. You can't play infinite copies of like a 5 drop, but like I'd definitely be happy to play like the first two. Yeah, creating tokens during your opponent's turn can give you like chum blocker. It just depends on how many ways you have to like draw cards, right? Your opponent's turn, because you have to like draw cards in your. But I don't know. I'm definitely willing to like go back and look at the card and then like if some like if like Stirkovitz like shows like 17 lands data and it goes like, oh, this was actually like a you know like a really high win percentage card, then I'm totally willing to be wrong. But I'm gonna say this is like a definitely like a 2.5, and maybe I could say it's like a 3, but it is a 5 drop. Yeah. Just like looking at my rating for the set, and like most of my ratings were in like the 1.5 to 2.5 rate range on like almost everything except for like the things that looked like really broke. Didn't seem like it. I guess like the set feels like a step down from like Pyrexia, All Will Be One, and March of the Machine, which I don't think that's a problem. I think it's actually like sets that are like lower power level. Yeah, it's a lower power level set. Which is kind of weird because it's supposed to be like for modern and stuff. You would say it's like a 3. Yeah, I was like thinking I could say it's a 3. It definitely feels a lot better than the like I said, the 3 mana 2/1 flyer that dies into a card. Because I think the problem with that card is it has to die. Kingfisher, because it has to die. This one has to die. Thing, and I try to actually. Well, it's not like necessarily as good as draw a card, but I just remember like Cloud Reader Sphinx was like good. Makes me want to rate it like a 3, but I'm gonna say it's like a 2.5 to 3. It's in the middle. So I do appreciate everybody